Hi students, so since we're getting ready to do a timed writing test about argument this week, I wanted to give you a review and a sample essay that you can read that can help you learn a little bit more about it. So the topic that we're going to practice with today is, should teenagers have their own cars? So this is an argument topic, which you can see because it has should. Okay, so hopefully you're aware that when you write your essay, you can either say yes or no, like teenagers should have their own cars or teenagers should not have their own cars as the thesis of your essay. So I'm going to encourage you to pause right now and take a minute and write a thesis, maybe in about 10 to 15 minutes, write a thesis and 3 points about this topic. So go ahead and pause and do that. And hopefully you're back and you wrote some of your own ideas and brainstorming about this. That will help make the next part of this video helpful for you. You can compare what you wrote to some things that my other students wrote in my face-to-face class when I asked them to complete this activity in class and write some ideas. Okay. So let's take a few minutes to look at some of the thesis statements and points that the students wrote. So the first point that one of the groups of students wrote was, as their thesis was, there are 3 benefits to teenagers having their own cars: freedom, responsibility, and help for parents. So these are 3 interesting points: freedom, responsibility, and help for parents. The problem is this is not an argument thesis. So this is not an acceptable thesis. Not an acceptable thesis. This is a good thesis if you are writing a cause-effect essay, because it is talking about the benefits of teenagers having a car. It's not making any argument. It's just describing the benefits. So it doesn't work, and you would have to change it to say, there are 3 reasons why teenagers should have their own cars. Okay, so as a reminder, when you put should or should not in your thesis, we know it's an argument. It's not just talking about the benefits like a cause-effect essay. It's actually making an argument. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next one is, teenagers should not have their own cars because of safety, the cost, and irresponsible. So here we have something that we've really been looking for, those should not have, which is great. So this is an argument essay. So let's just look at the 3 points. We have safety, cost, and irresponsible. So safety is a noun and cost is a noun, but irresponsible is not a noun. It is an adjective. There's another problem with this 3rd point, which is that safety and irresponsible or irresponsibility are potentially overlapping ideas. That means they would be about the same part. And when the student came to write their essay about the topic, they would find themselves repeating many ideas in the essay. So we need to change this 3rd point for those 2 reasons. So that's something that we would need to change. So teenagers should not have their own cars because of safety, cost, and maybe lack of parental control. So the parents wouldn't be able to control where the children are going or teenagers are going. Hopefully that helps you. So the main thing that we want to work on when we're looking at the 3 points are they overlapping? Are they the same, or are they different? We want them to be different. And then in terms of having the 3 points, we also want them all to be the same part of speech, like safety is a noun, cost is a noun, and lack is also a noun. Let's look at the next one. It says, some people think teenagers should not have a car. Other people think teenagers should have a car because of several reasons. So this student was trying to use a counter argument in their essay and kind of like show both sides. But as a reminder, we do not want to show both sides in an argument essay. We only want to mention the other side quickly to describe why it isn't correct. Okay, in this case where we have some people think and other people think, we do not know what the student thinks. Okay, if some people think one thing and other people think another thing, it's not an argument, even though it has should. So for the second part, we should just remove the other people think, and we would just say, however, teenagers should have a car because of several reasons. This shows when we just assert it and we don't say some people or other people think that, that's how we know that that is our thesis and that's what we really believe. Okay, so now this is good. It's fixed. Do we have to say what the reasons are in our thesis? No, we do not. We need to know what they are before we start writing, which will help us to write it better, but we don't need to say it there. All right, let's look at the last one. Although many parents worry about their young adult children, teenagers should have their own cars because they learn responsibility, they can help their family, and they can be safe. Okay, so this is a good thesis. It's okay to say although, because it's okay to mention, some parents are worried about that, and young adult children is a different way to refer to teenagers, so it's okay. It has should, and it has 3 points. They learn, they can help, and they can be safe, so those are parallel. In this case, I think responsibility is about, for example, paying for a car, taking care of a car, things like that. Helping their family would be maybe a teenager could work because they have a car. Maybe they could help drive their parents or siblings to different places, and they can be safe. Maybe in this part, I would talk about some features or elements. How can I say, like, how can students be safe while having a car? So, or teenagers be safe. So maybe, parents can track where their children are in the car. Maybe parents can use an app that locks the student's phone while they're driving or something like that. Okay, so remember when you're writing the thesis, you need to say should or should not. You need to put the 3 points, make sure they're not overlapping and they are parallel. So let's go ahead and look at a sample essay about this. So this sample essay is on Blackboard, and I'm just going to change the fonts a little bit so you can see it. But this sample essay is on Blackboard for you guys so that you're able to review it and see some of the points. So I would encourage you to pause and go ahead and read through the whole thing. I'm just going to highlight a few important things. Okay, so first of all, before the thesis, we have an introduction. So it's required to put an introduction in your argument essay, and the introduction styles are the same kind of choices that we have for cause and effect. You can see in this one, they used a question, some background information. You can also use general to specific. You could use an anecdote in the introduction, but you need to have something before the thesis. So here we have the thesis. Teenagers should not have their own vehicle, okay, because they are not mature enough. They cannot afford the expenses, and they are beyond their parents' control. So this is a good thesis because it says should or should not. In this case, it's should not. There are 3 points. They all begin with they and a verb, so they're parallel, and they're different. Maturity, the cost, and then parents' control are all different points. Okay? This thesis and this introduction do not have a counter argument. They are not really mentioning the other side at all, and that's okay. However, if you'd like to put a counter argument in the introduction, you would be mentioning the other side and briefly explaining why it's wrong. So if you wanted to do that, that would be, if you wanted to have a thesis, you could use although or however or something like that. That would be fine, but it's not required, as you can see. Okay, so I'm just going to mention a few other points from this part. It says teenagers are not responsible enough to have their own cars. And then all of these are examples, okay, focused on responsibility. They give examples about a car race, putting people in danger. They give examples about different areas that would be difficult for driving, like highways, roundabouts, and respect, or using alcohol. So all of these are just examples. That is a good body paragraph for an argument essay. It supports the topic sentence about responsibility. It does not have a counter argument. It doesn't mention the other side, and that's okay. Okay? And the second body paragraph is about expenses and costs. Again, this writer supports their ideas with examples only. Insurance, paying for an accident, fuel or gasoline. So these are just examples that support the body paragraph and the topic sentence, not able to pay expenses. Okay, finally, we have the third body paragraph. This body paragraph does have a counter argument. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, it says the most important is that parents cannot have enough control on their child. Many people say that teens need to have their own car to commute to school or after school activities. All right, this may be true, but there are some choices of public transportation that are safe, so parents won't have to worry too much about their child. Okay, so in this body paragraph, you can see the topic sentence. The topic of this paragraph is about parents controlling their children. Okay, so this body paragraph is going to be all focused on control. Okay. Next, we say many people say that teenagers need their own car to commute to school or after school activities. So this part of the body paragraph shows the opposite point of view. It is one sentence, so it mentions the other point of view. However, it does not go on and on and on about the other point of view. It just says, this may be true, but there are some public transportation choices that students could use instead. So this tells that the writer does not agree with the opposing point of view. The rest of the paragraph is supporting the writer's point of view. Only this one sentence that I'm kind of highlighting here mentions the other point of view. The rest of the paragraph is about the writer's original point of view. That is the correct way to prepare a counter argument. So you can do this also in your essay. Okay? Finally, we have a concluding paragraph that summarizes all the points and the argument that the person made. Okay, so as a reminder, we still need an introduction and a conclusion in our argument essay. We need the 3 body paragraphs, and we can support our topic sentences with examples, details, or anecdotes. If we want to, we can also use counter argument, and that could be in 1 paragraph, in 2 and 3. It can be in many paragraphs, whatever works for the message that you are trying to communicate in your essay. Just remember, with the counter argument, you quickly mention the other side and then spend the rest of the paragraph explaining why that side is wrong. Okay, so I hope this quick video helped you feel more confident and ready to do the timed writing test that we are going to take. Thank you. Always let me know any questions.